You guys seem to enjoy the new video concepts I've been bringing to this channel, like this series where I compare different lineups against each other. In this video, we're going to compare our 2024 Mr. Olympia Top 10 lineup to the best ever Mr. Olympia Top 10 lineup from the legendary 1999 Mr. Olympia. Some of you 90s nostalgics might be surprised by how well 2024 fares against 1999, so make sure to stick around until the end. Victory for 1999 is not guaranteed. To be clear, for those watching this kind of video for the first time, we're comparing winners against winners, runner-ups against runner-ups, all the way to the 10th place finishers from both years. The year with more victories wins. We'll start from the bottom. In 10th place, we have Milos versus Akim Williams. Another important note, we're not going to look at all 8 mandatory poses, as this would mean 10 different comparisons in one video. Instead, we'll look at one front pose, one side pose, and one back pose to get a clear idea of who is more well-rounded. Milos versus Akim is an unbalanced matchup between an aesthetic guy and a mass monster. I think Akim would overshadow Milos on stage. The same goes for the side poses. Akim's size is just too dominant. From the back, Milos would have an edge because Akim has an underwhelming back. Overall, as I judge every matchup based on who would win on stage, I believe Akim would definitely defeat Milos. So the first point goes to 2024. In 9th place, we have Dexter versus Brandon Curry, a matchup we've seen many times before on stage. Here, it's a debuting Dexter on the Olympia stage versus a veteran Brandon Curry. Very importantly, we're not comparing their legacies, just how they look next to each other. Dexter has a fresher look and dominates the lower body, so from the front, he would have the advantage. From the side, with his thickness and muscle maturity, Brandon would probably take the lead, especially since his lower body looks good from the side. From the back, both have complete backs, but Brandon's lower body is a weakness. Overall, I think this young version of Dexter would defeat the 2024 version of Brandon. The score is now 1-1. In 8th place, we have Lee Priest versus Rafael Brandão, a very tough comparison. Lee Priest was so chiseled and complete, but his overall size was always a drawback, being the shortest guy in this video. Rafael looked great at the start of the 2024 prejudging, where these photos are from. Pound for pound, Lee is more complete, which says a lot considering Rafael is one of the most balanced bodybuilders today, but like with Shawn today, size matters. I think Lee Priest gives up too much size against Rafael. I'm not fully convinced, but I would go with Rafael, making it 2-1 for 2024. In 7th place, we have another disproportionate matchup, Paul Dillett versus William Bonac. Proportionally, it's similar to Lee versus Rafael, but Paul doesn't have the polish that Rafael has, while William is as chiseled as Lee Priest. 2024 was a great version of William. Due to the size difference, this could go to Paul based on the pictures, but on stage, his posing issues would be evident. I'm surprised he beat Lee Priest, but I digress. From the side, Paul looks strong and might beat William, but from the back, Paul stands no chance. If they were on stage together, I'm confident William would look much better, so I give the point to William. The score is now 3-1 for 2024. In 6th place, we have a fascinating battle between Nasser El Sombati and Hunter Labrada. In terms of greatness, Nasser is an all-time great, but by 1999 he was past his prime, while 2024 was Hunter's best showing. From the front, Hunter is more polished, but Nasser's size and aesthetics are hard to ignore. From the side, both look strong. From the back, Hunter would have the advantage. This matchup is close, but I think Nasser's dominance in some poses like abs and thighs gives him the edge, so it's now 3-2 for 2024. In 5th place, we have Shawn Ray versus Andrew Jack. I think Shawn was at his absolute best in 1999 despite not placing his highest. Andrew wasn't at his peak in 2024, which makes this a tricky matchup. If this were Andrew at his best, he'd likely win, but as they are here, I'm not sure. From the front, Andrew might still take it, and from the side, Shawn would give up size and thickness. However, from the back, Shawn likely has the advantage. Given the evolving standards in the sport, 2024's athletes tend to be fuller without losing conditioning. I think 2024 Andrew would beat Shawn Ray on stage, so the score goes to 4-2 for 2024. If you're enjoying my content, consider subscribing. A big portion of you, about 73%, are not subscribed, and it would mean a lot to me to reach 30k subs by the end of the year. Thanks, guys. Next, we have Kevin Levrone versus Martin Fitzwater in 4th place. Kevin is a legend and many will disagree here, especially since Martin is a debutant. But Kevin was not at his peak, and Martin puts up a strong fight. Kevin would lose the front double but win the front lat spread. From the side, both are impressive, but from the back, Martin dominates. 2024 athletes tend to have the advantage in fullness without sacrificing conditioning. I think 2024 Martin would beat 1999 Kevin on stage, making it 5-2 for 2024. Chris Cormier versus Derek Lunsford in 3rd place. From the front, Derek looks great, but Chris has better arms and proportions. From the side, Derek's thickness is hard to beat. From the back, Derek has one of the best backs ever, but Chris holds his own with a complete back. Despite Derek's detail, I think Chris Cormier's well-rounded package would edge him out. The score is now 5-3 for 2024. Flex Wheeler versus Hadi Choopan in 2nd place, a very unbalanced matchup. Flex is the sultan of symmetry with some of the best genetics ever, while Hadi isn't as genetically gifted but maximizes what he has. Hadi would expose Flex conditioning, but Flex would shine from the front. From the side, Hadi has the edge in polish, but Flex has a case too. From the back, I prefer Flex upper body, but Hadi wins in the lower body. If this were judged by 90 standards, Flex might win, but by today's criteria, Hadi takes it. So it's 6-3 for 2024. Finally, we have Ronnie Coleman versus Samson Dauda in 1st place. Even though Samson is the best of 2024, Ronnie is the greatest of all time, and 1999 might be his best version. Ronnie was ahead of his time, and despite giving up 50 pounds on paper, no one would argue against him winning this matchup. I did a full comparison between these versions. If you're interested, check the description for that. Ronnie wins, making the final score 6-4. Still in favor of 2024. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, I'm out of my mind, right? 1999 remains the greatest bodybuilding lineup in history, but this video highlights the evolution of the sport. If the 1999 lineup were to compete today, with modern standards and advances in nutrition, drugs and technology, it would easily defeat today's lineup. This isn't about disrespect. It's about acknowledging that the top 10 at 1999 Mr. Olympia represents the peak of bodybuilding greatness. Aside from Dorian Yates, it gathered the best from arguably the greatest decade in bodybuilding history. Let me know your thoughts on this video. How would you judge these matchups? Don't forget to like the video for the algorithm and subscribe so you don't miss any new content. See you in the next one.